everyone. I thought I'd climb on and make a video. So, for those of you who've been listening to my script keepers, I've been explaining and exploring how the script is put together. The way that the script is put together really depends on you. I've always said this, and there's no other way to see it that way. However, the most interesting thing about that is the Ministry of Magic. I've never really gone into it in much detail because it's so convoluted. And I have touched on things here and there. Magic is not necessarily the occult stuff. It's not necessarily related to things that you think you know from mainstream Sabrina, all of that shit. It's got absolutely nothing to do with that. That is an actual fact, just let me put it this way, like costume jewelry. And it would be the best way to explain to you is if I tell you that it's a science. And the reason I'm bringing this information up and why I'm telling you that it's a science is because that is a science that is the inverted science of metaphysics and alchemy. And, well, that's basically it. However, let me tell you that for at least 1,000 years in the existence of this reality, there has been another type of magic that was put in place to try and hold onto the control of the world. Aside from itself being a system overlay, aside from having the parasite already in the garden, or aside from all of that, what I found interesting was that the minute you start to explore Kabbalism in the depth of it I'm not talking about the Christian Kabbalism or the Roman Kabbalism. I'm not talking about any of that stuff. I'm talking about the Judaic Kabbalism. The minute you go into that direction, there are 110 million upset minions that try to stop you from it. I do want to say I think that it borders a little bit on the black magic that's done to conjure up jinns, to put it like that. There's a reason I'm bringing this up for you. I'm sharing this with you because these things key into holding up the system overlay. And the system overlay in itself is dependent. There's a codependency on minions to perpetuate that particular power. And that magic is based on power, not wisdom or knowledge or what you can accomplish within your conscious mind. It's all about, I'm taking what belongs to you and I'm going to make it better or stronger or harsher for you. So that it's also about, I want to take your soul and you're going to live in hell forever type of thing. It's basically, that is the black magic aspect of it, or the infantile adolescent behavior that comes with that particular work. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because it is what is the framework of the system overlay. The system overlay existed once upon a time, like you would have bacteria in your stomach, where you would have good bacteria and bad bacteria. When the creation took place, that was what was intended for its purpose. However, it's basically become very obese. It's allowed itself to become gluttonous in terms of energy. People have allowed it to become gluttonous. before I say anything, what was the purpose of it? Well, the purpose of having that thing in the Garden of Eden, this jewel of world that is infinitely potential but in a finite reality, was that it would drive or charge the necessity to operate from, to if you if you had to live with the awareness that you have, if you don't look after yourself, then things in your body are going to start attacking you, sort of thing. If you then live in that perpetuate state of mind where you are aware that you need to do something else to counter that force, that's how the system overlay operates. So everything that you do and that you say and that you express and that you connect within, and it's related to or of, because of that system overlay, is setting it in motion. And let me give you an example. So if you do something but it's because of, if you do your mantras because you're afraid, if you plant food in the garden because you're afraid of starvation, if you do those things, if you key into that frequency, then you are lining up with the cycle, with the system overlay. If you're upset and angry and you want to lash out at the world and you want to fight everyone because you're angry because of the system overlay, then you key into that frequency. And so some people have different understandings of what the system overlay means to them, or what they would consider to call it matrix or mother of tricks. That's what I call it. Or anything, whatever. I'm calling it a system overlay for the reason it represents itself as an artificial frequency that is overlapped over the reality in which you exist in. And I've also been saying that you need to create your system. You need to become aware or conscious of your immediate environment, your immediate reality, because that is your little igloo, that is your home within the system. You have to create it for yourself. You have to look after your body, not so. Your body is your embodiment, is your vessel in which you exist within. And so you need to look after that as well while you're operating in this world. And if you key into the belief that, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, then you're going to go to this direction, you're going to go to hell, or you're not going to know what you're doing. If you die, you're kind of screwed. And if you live in a reality where you believe that to be so, that you have to, by your deeds, prove constantly that you're a good person, then that is part of the frequency of feeding the system overlay or the parasite. Now, let me say this. I'm coming back to the magical aspect of it, because the ministry of magic in itself attains the ability to perpetuate the beliefs. It pushes the beliefs and its frequencies forward. And as it pushes those frequencies forward, it uses media, it uses all forms of things to try and make you key into it. It creates chaos. They are very active right now. And the reason they're so active is because many of us have discovered that we don't really want to, or let me say, many of us It's not like we've discovered it. Many of us have become aware that we're actually retracting ourselves from this chaos mess, because 99% of the time, a percentage of people in the planet, in the world, in the reality, really don't want to fight. You don't really want to be in a war. You just want to live, do your stuff, work and connect with your path, your soul path, your higher self path, your spirit path, whatever path. You want to connect, you want to become aware of that, and you want to move forward, and you want to meet the creator, the original creator. You want to go through that process. You do. That's why you don't want to get involved and tangled up in this bullshit. However, and in case you didn't notice, we are in a constant perpetuate state of load shedding here in South Africa. So I am okay. Everything is okay. These are things that are part of living in a reality that is continuously exploring and expanding itself. And so what I do want to bring to your attention is this, though, that as you become aware of the system overlay and its behavior, such as the examples are far and few, many of them. There are so many examples. It's ridiculous and almost absurd as to what level these examples become. Like, for instance, there was a massive blackout that happened yesterday, my time, and it was specifically targeting the entire KZN area, KwaZulu-Natal area in South Africa. And it was to do with, first of all, the stories that went around, which is bizarre, actually, was to do with, now they think that Eskom completely died. It shows you the preponderance, or the propensity of that state of mind that seeks that chaos. I was right, now we're all stuffed, type of thing. It's sensational, as I've said. It's a sensational thing that you're looking for all the time. You want to feed off of it. Actually, that's part of the Ministry of Magic, as what I said. Those would be the minions at the bottom of that pyramid. So at the top, you've got some knob who considers himself to be an archmajor or archmajor magician, head magician, who wants to control everything. And the way that he controls everything is the same as he needs minions at the bottom of the pyramid to feed off of. And these dudes at the bottom, they need to feed off of everyone else. They need to stir shit around so that it can feed the beast. Because after all, the system overlay is the beast. And as de Growley found out very embarrassingly, that he was steering himself into the mouth of the beast. It's quite funny, actually. This is what happens when you try and dabble with shit that you don't really understand, when you weaken your consciousness, and it's all about the physical life. It's all about the physical shit. It's about material. It's worshipping the material. I just want to have 1,000 women to be at my beck and call, or men to be at my beck and call, and the what is it, the 7 virgins when I die, and I want to have a Ferrari and a sports car and this, and I'm going to live in a mansion, but I'm going to take your spirits, your souls, and your souls are going to come to me, and I'm going to eat them, because that's how it works. That's what they do. That is about power. It's about have and have not. It's about power, taking power from people, taking energy from people. So spreading that message around is being people look. So when you look, there's a bit of your energy just gone to the sender that's created that thing. Then there's another message that comes through. And, oh no, it's about the Niagara river. If there is something like that, I didn't explore this truthfully. I never really explored it, but I kind of had a feeling that something happened that tripped everything. It was just, I think it was exceptionally hot as well yesterday. So whether the stations have overheated, that would be the most logical understanding of it. But no, let's go through with these little breadcrumbs, these little nuggets of energy trappings, and so it goes on. Then at the same time, there's this story about a place that collapsed, and it's exceptionally disturbing. It was just around the corner from where I live, and the place collapsed and hundreds of people died. Meanwhile, the mezzanine floor descended, it collapsed, and a few people, they're okay. Okay, I'm like really watering it down. I'm not giving you the facts of the scenario. It's not the point. The point is, these people that are standing at the gates in worshipping the beast system. And please, when I say the beast system, I am not talking about 666 branded. I'm not talking about that shit. I'm not talking about that end of days apocalypse Bible stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that Christian thing, because most of these things are based on a Christian ideology as well. Okay, it's got nothing to do with Christians. I'm not nailing Christians. I'm saying that many of these things are based on the inverted aspect of Christianity, which tells you then you're dealing with these hobnobs that are essentially perpetuating fear. They're sending the messages around, and they want you to key into it because they feel nice. They feel lekker inside. They feel lekker. That's an Afrikaans expression for I feel nice. Like eating the fat worm, consumer, which it used to be called the consumer stage of between pupa, worm pupa, and then butterfly. The middle stage is the consumer stage. I don't know when everyone's going to turn into butterflies. Still waiting for that. So the Ministry of Magic is basically the ones that are pushing the power. There are things that are far beyond. They are much more beyond the Weffers and the UNers and the Schwabsters and the Sorosos, etc., etc. People, little people. There's above them. There's something that's controlling them. Okay, they're all just little things, little minions. They're like in the middle between that pyramid. That they're in the middle, and there's someone above them that's controlling them. They're even above the Rothschilds. The Rothschilds are just high magic influencers, workers of the Kabbalah system. The system overlay is 1,000 years old. The reason why I'm saying that, and we know that the reality that we've existed in is much older than that. But the system overlay in this process, in this reality, in the way that it's going forward, is about 1,000 years old, because the tree of Kabbalah match everything all over the place so that no one can ever find out the real reason, is around 1,000 BC. It's about 1,000 years old. But that don't quote me on the BCAC, please. And the astrology is, the story about the astrology is in that thing. The story about history, world, reality, this system overlay, its spine, that is its spine. It's what's keeping it going. And so we know who these people are. Now, these little magicians, this Ministry of Magic, or the Sanhedrin Illuminatis, are also using the same technology. I mean, it's like a fest of energy consumption. So, where are you when you're in this? Now that you're aware of these things, because these are the things that happen in the background that you don't really, you may feel it, but you can't really put your finger on it. You've had a sense about it, but you're not really, sort of aware. But you don't know what exactly. It's not exactly just eyes wide shut Illuminati. It's not exactly like that, but they do use a lot of that technology. That's technology. Sex magic is technology. Crystals and using crystals in a particular way is technology. And I'm telling you all of these things. So why I'm sharing it with you is because I want you to understand that the system overlay is not as simple as just walking away from it and finding yourself in a place that you can be secure in. It's about becoming aware of what you've got within you, and that you need to also work within your thoughts and what you permit to come into your conscious thoughts, like I've always said, except just be a little bit more discerning, even more. Be more discerning. And so it leaves us to the point where we are essentially then asking, okay, so what am I trying to say? You're asking me, okay, what are you trying to say? What do you want me to understand? So what I'm wanting to share with you, what I'm trying to tell you, is the fact that these dudes are amping up their power. They're amping up their activities. And because the more you step away from it, the more they're trying to get your attention. That's actually what's going on. And so consider this message that I'm sharing with you as just a, making you aware, nudging you a little bit so that you're aware of the process of how things operate and what they really are, and that they're pushing to have the sort of we must police ourselves thing. They've always done it, but there's so many versions of it. It's everywhere in the world. It's not just in one place. Every part of the world, there are a few that are doing certain things to make certain things happen. The magicians are fighting amongst themselves to get to that point of source, or what they consider source, which is actually just the system overlay. They're racing to get to that, to the core of it, to the root of it. So what they're doing is they're trying to take control of people's energy. This is why they have sacrifices. They do these things because they want to have power, more power, to charge up their ability to commit or to do the next thing. People are irresponsible. Many are irresponsible in terms of that, so they end up sometimes destroying themselves as well in the process. Like, look at what happened to Crowley. So the issue is this: you're not just dealing with the system overlay, you're dealing with the magician part of the system overlay as well. That's why it's so important. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So there are things happening, like I said, I'm calling it hyperdimensional, high magic, hyperdimensionality. These are things that are hyped up. Okay, it's like excessively more than usual. Be mindful that that is related to high magic. And because of that, there's a bigger feed. Okay, there are more feeders. And if you ask me, why is this permitted, I'm saying to you, it's not permitted, but sadly, we are in a reality that it was told to me, it was said to me, that you live in a finite world with infinite possibilities. In a sense, it's okay, I can see that could happen. So unfortunately, these Effers can do whatever they want, but then so can we. We can also come into that place. And I'm leaving that with you. Just before I go, I want to just remind you that for those who are very interested, I am setting up a lecture. I'm busy preparing it, and it is metaphysics. It will be on the second channel that I've got called The Fountain. If you don't know where the link is, please send me a message. If you're interested in it, it is free. And if you are a paying member of my Promethean channel, and I say thank you to you very much for that, that I use to make these videos, to make the lectures, and to present the material to you as I find it. And so my gratitude goes to you as well. You will have, as a member, the opportunity to then have the video, to view the videos like I've done before. If you're new, I will place the videos that are, well, the videos will be in two parts. You'll have one video which is for the public, and the other part that is more sensitive and more detailed in the second part, which will be hidden and only shared to the members that are interested in the metaphysics course. And so I'm leaving that with you. Till next time.